Hello, everyone. So we just finished our first game the other day at Forward On, and I think that went perfectly fine. As I said, I believe I said it in that video. It was obvious that this person was definitely stronger than the two Dons. That's where I feel like, for me, the change starts to happen, at least on Fox. After three Don, you start to see people who are actually very decent at the game. This is probably the one Don rank on OGS or closer to one Don on KGS as well. KGS might be weaker. I don't know. I have to test it now. Test them both, see how they turn out. But let's get into another game and see how I do this time. All right, I got a game, and it looks like I might be white here. I'm going to see if I can get opposing 3-4s, which is what I want, and they were happy to give that to me. They did not want a cross opening. And like normal, I definitely want to enclose the bottom left here. Nothing too different from what I've already done before. But there is one difference here, in that when I jump, I can't push and approach this side here. So I think what I want to do is I want to actually slide instead, because I don't ever want to really come up on this side unless I'm making a base. That's a little bit of weird timing. That means that I can approach his 3-4 point. Probably a little bit slow for him to have played that right now, because he still needs another couple moves in order for it to be for sure doing anything. I'm going to push one more time. This should give me enough. Okay. I think I'm happy to cut here. I wanted to push these 3 times to make sure that I had enough space to live. So I do want to make sure I can live. But I can threaten my opponent first. So I'm going to turn here to show that these liberties are low. And I don't really want him to get that move. Then I'm going to extend here. Right? And then I'm able to jump out on this side here. And even though he's likely to be able to connect up and not really have any issues, this is still kind of what we're wanting to do here. And I think I want to attach here. Oh, he's doing that one. Okay. That simplifies things for me a lot. Because we can, I could try to get a little bit more, but just this Hane will be good enough. Now we have this secure, safe group here. And then we'll be able to go back to the corner to live. I'm not going to try to get anything extra here, because if he plays, I am just a dead group. If I play first, I can live. If I attach, I'm not going to worry about attaching for now. Because if I attach, there's a lot of potential Aji here. So we're just going to keep it very, very simple and just be alive like this. Do I need another move? Because I have quite a few, like around the 6 area here and something on this side. So it looks like I should be fine. So now I'll come back and do this push here. Because I didn't really want him to come over the top on that side. If he turns now, it's not as big of a deal. Though I still wouldn't mind jumping one more time, but I could also just take an extension. That could be fine here. But it looks like if he comes over the top, it's a little bit annoying for me. So I'll approach instead of extending. See what he wants to do. Oh, I won by resign. That was too strong for him. I couldn't do anything, I guess. That was a really weird resign. I had like this disconnect thing pop up and then it said resign. So I don't know if he meant to do that or if that was a glitch here on Fox. That is a good question, honestly. So I looked through the game and I felt like there wasn't enough going on to really talk about too much. So I'm just going to get another game going on here and see what happens.
Start to play.
I am white again. We'll see if he decides to stay. He does decide to stay. And since I did opposing 3-4s, I'm just going to do 2 4-4s this time. We'll mix it up a little bit, at least in the same video. He's approaching here now, but I think approaching a 4-4 is not as good as approaching a 3-4. And when they do the approach, I like to do a high approach here, just because they're more likely to respond. And I'm perfectly happy with this exchange. And I can play high. High is the normal move now. And so when he does this double approach, First thing I should always think about is, do I have this ladder here? If I attach, he hanes, I extend and he attaches here. Can I cut and ladder? And this ladder goes right over here, and it doesn't quite work for me. So it's likely the same on the other side, which means it doesn't really matter which side I go on then. So I'm going to attach here on the bottom because he can't really make too many points and I can't really attack anything there. So I'm fine with this. Oh, and he didn't play the attachment in the corner, which is the normal move, which means I can block, which is good. He is just defending here. I don't actually know what the appropriate move is here anymore, but I know I can probably pincer. Because now this cutting point, it doesn't matter. Him pushing through still doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to back off from this. If I hane, I leave a cutting point. And I don't really want to leave a cutting point right now. Oh, and he's pushing through now, which doesn't make sense because I'm obviously just going to extend. Maybe he wanted this so he can push up here. Get better shape. That could make sense. Let's see what he does. Yeah, very good. Took him a second, but he did find the proper shape move here. And now he can, now he can push over the top, but that does mean I'm likely to get this move first. Threatening to connect up underneath, and that would be good enough for me. Yep, as I said, that would be good enough for me, so I'll do that. Do I need to respond? Not really. If he hanes, I cut. He can't push here because I have an extra liberty. If he hanes here, I just block. There's nothing really there, so I'm going to prevent him from getting his base here on the side. And my group should now just be alive in the corner. I think he needed to try to squeeze my 2 stones in some way, which would give him some extra strength here. But he did not do that. And when he extends here, I'm able to just block like this, threatening to push through and cut. So he doesn't have to connect here. But if he does, I don't have to respond anymore. And my group is pretty much alive. Yeah, I should be good for now, which means I can take the next big move on the board, which I think I'm just going to approach him. Instead of worrying about his weak group here right now, I'm going to settle my area first. Yeah, just play the basic Joseki here. A long time ago, we probably would have said to jump up here, but just this is good now. Because we're getting a little bit of the corner, and we're still solidifying some of the side. He really wants the outside, but I don't really want to give him the outside. I don't know the appropriate move. I should probably look these sorts of things up and get better at it. But that'll be me in the future. I don't need to worry about that right now. But I do really think that my points in my corner are not too important. So he should have actually played an extension or an approach instead. I think that was much more appropriate here. If I do this one, it seems a little bit too much. I'm just going to play the basic diagonal move here. I want him to take my corner. That's what I'm trying to tell him. I want him to take my corner here. Can I do this one? No, I'm just going to do this. Should be fine. Just staying connected should be good enough here. He probably should have cut. I think we saw this in my last Fordon game where my opponent ended up playing this and I was able to cut here. He had to extend, and then when he does this, it's more threatening. But now when I connect here, I could even try to do something extra, but when I connect here, he still owes a move. And there's no cutting points to give him anything that's too free. So now he has this group that's not necessarily alive, and this group here, again, that's not necessarily alive. He does have a bit of territory, but I also have a little bit of territory. So I think what I want to do is I probably want to come really close to his group on the top and pressure him. My group is very thick, and he's not worried about it. So I'm just going to come this direction. I want him to connect up, so that's why I'm playing a diagonal move. And I'm going to threaten his group. That's the most important part here. Interesting. threaten his group some more. This would help me live if I got this Hane. Two different ways of trying to do something here. Could actually turn here, which would be nice, but I don't need to do that. I'm just going to attach to his stone, leaning on him, and potentially surrounding this top stone now. We'll see what he wants to do here, because he does have some weakness he has to worry about. That is very interesting. And it looks like I can just cut. So I think I will do that. Because this group is not alive on the top here. Yep, just extend. And then capture this stone. Seems really nice for me.
Yoyomi now starts.
I will. I was thinking about not responding, but I will respond here. Because he doesn't have two eyes yet. He doesn't even actually have one eye yet. So he has to be very careful. Look like I can just capture this stone, threatening to cut through him. Then fix my shape, and he still does not have very good shape himself. And my group is now completely alive. He could have played a little bit faster there, and turning would have been a little bit better because there's the threat of the Atari, right? So this one, he's just playing a little bit too slow. And we're going to be able to come back over to this side and capture the stone on top. I want to just take profit right now instead of trying to do anything that's too much, you could say. Yeah, my goal here is just profit. Because if I try to fight back too much and he gets strong, my group ends up weak. So I don't really want my group to end up weak.
Yoyomi now starts. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
He's cutting now, which means I have to pull back. He can potentially capture that stone, so I don't want him to do that. And I'm connected up here, so there's nothing for me to worry about. Now everything is basically settled here. Now, do we need to play another move is a good question.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
I think I will play one more move because it looks like he can potentially squeeze me or get some sort of extra forcing moves out of it. And so I want to get rid of those. I'm happy to connect up. Oh, my fox coins are ready. Always got to get your fox coins, guys. It's very important. Yep, just going to connect up nice and simple here. These stones aren't necessarily connected to him very easily. So that just doesn't work because I can Atari here. He had to just connect. And now when I capture this stone, his group on the outside is even weaker. And he could have gotten more. Like that's the thing. Like it looks like maybe he was able to get some end game here, but he could have played the low move potentially and gotten even more in. And he's not even going to worry about his stones. Okay. So he has 3 different weak groups. Maybe we can force this one to run to the bottom here because we don't need to kill everything. So we can force this one to run down now that we have this really, really thick position and no more weakness there. That's an interesting move, but it doesn't do anything because now I'm surrounding the top side group and his group. All of my groups are now alive, so I have nothing to worry about anymore. And it's looking like he is just going to try to live with this one, I'm guessing. Because he can't escape anymore, so he wants a ko. I'm fine with that. Yep. Because he has to play a really good ko threat without losing anything. And I can also just play a move like this one, which is threatening to capture half of everything. And that's good enough for me. I don't even need the whole area. Okay. I'm going to Atari him. And then we can just come over to the other weak group that's on the board. Because I said he has multiple weak groups here. Including this first one that he made at the very beginning of the game. That is still not alive. I don't even need to continue the ko right now. I'm attacking 2 weak groups, right? I could Hane, potentially, but just extend, extend, and try to connect myself up. Because he needs to make 2 eyes with this group, and he still needs to live with this one in the middle.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
My goal here is to surround this group, so I'm going to go all in on surrounding the group. The more I try to surround this one, the more likely I'll end up surrounding the other group in the center, which is my goal here. Okay. It's made it nice and easy for me. Let's capture this stone. It's not necessarily captured, but I just feel like the Atari is a little bit better to do. So let's surround here, protecting my cutting point, making sure he's not connecting. And he's still not connecting. Okay. He can cut me, it's fine, but he hasn't accomplished anything yet. Because remember, this stone is still an Atari. So even if he cuts me, he's not getting anything right now. Yep. Cut, but I'm alive on the other side. We can push here at least one time. Because when we turn in here, he can't let me Hane on the other side, which would cut him off because I'm threatening to capture these 2 stones. But you also see now that his plan of cutting me off doesn't end up mattering too much because these stones are potentially dead now. So now we can at least Hane here, which is separating and threatening to capture stones. You can see that he still needs to live with this group, and he still needs to live with the other group. This move just doesn't work, though. This is a common old mistake from a Q level mistake here. There's a connect and die type of thing here. Yeah, it just doesn't work. There you go, he resigned. Not playing again. I think he's upset, so we don't want him to just play us 100 games in a row and lose every time. That would not be good. I mean, I've felt that way before. I understand. I do, actually. Oh, man. So, yeah, he just had too many weak groups. Again, like, it's the same sort of issue that you always run into when, like, in this whole series, actually. Like, I think this is the most common thing that we see is just there's too many weak groups on the board. Almost every single game, no matter the rank, where there weren't that many weak groups on the board, the games were much closer. I think even when we were closer to 5Q, I think there were a couple games where like they just focused on protecting their groups and they didn't worry about it. And then I was not like 100 points ahead or 30 points ahead. I was like 10 points ahead, right? That should show you how important it is to do that. And I think if you watch the, I think like end song from the AYD or EYD, American Youngest Sang Dojang, and the European one, he's making videos like this now where I believe he just recently got up to 5 Dawn. So the same thing he's pointing out in his games. It's like they just, even if the moves are not necessarily bad or the ideas are not necessarily bad, they're just leaving too much weakness on the board. And so you can play a little bit slower and you can play very thick and you'll eventually just win because of that. We end up getting basically 2 games today. A game and a third, a game and a fourth. I don't know what we'd call it. But I hope you guys enjoyed and I hope you guys are having a good day. Have fun.